Let's talk about tariffs as a whole thing, because there's a whole thing there.
Well, tariffs is a bargaining chip. You guys are looking at it like it's, policy or whatever. We are tariffed to death. Like, you do not see, if you go to England, if you go to Germany, you don't see their taxi cabs are Mercedes, right?
You are aware that there are tariffs that exist currently, right?
We are burdened
Okay.
with tariffs.
I'm
We're
saying-
trying to level the playing field and bring manufacturing jobs back here.
All I'm saying, this is just, if Trump follows through on the 25%, and then 10% extra on China, on our 3 biggest trading partners, I'm not.
How do you walk into a negotiating table?
Hold up, let me say.
Never bought a house.
If people voted for him because they wanted prices to go down, you can make the argument that it's a good trade-off to have prices go way up, but it's bring more manufacturing jobs or whatever. And sometimes that's a trade-off that we do. He should do it strategically across the board, tariffs on all imports. It's a crazy proposal, but I'm just saying, people, you're gonna have people who are gonna be mad at Trump because all they care about is the grocery prices.
Let me explain. What he's doing
people,
is it's a negotiation.
fine.
He has to set how he is seen to the outside world. The reason that Trump didn't get had no new wars and all that stuff is because he's a lunatic. Because they were so afraid that he would push the button. They didn't know what he would do. He was unpredictable. They were afraid. They were more willing to negotiate with him. It's kind of like this. If you're doing a court case settlement, right? They have like a T sheet, right? Or if you're buying a house, right? The seller lists the price higher than what they actually really want to get it for. And then the buyer comes in and they go low. So now he has to have this policy, this objective that seems like it's crazy and it's really going to hurt them and it's really going to impact and that's why Mexico is already starting to negotiate and do stuff with us because they don't want those taxes and they think he's insane enough to put them in. It is a complete tool. It's a rhetoric tool. It is I am presenting power and insanity on the world stage and they're afraid of him. And that's why
that can be your argument. I'm telling you, the people who voted for him on prices are going to be mad if he follows through on this and spikes prices. That's all I'm saying.
Well, listen.
And don't dispute that that's what 25% on all imports.
I think that it's important to point out the reason that prices are such an issue is because the inflation has already come and kind of gotten under control, but we had such outrageous inflation, and inflation is a leader and wages are a lagger. So wages have yet to rise to meet the inflation. That's what happens.
We've surpassed it now.
So just so you know,
the people's purchasing power now is where it was pre-pandemic. It's gone back up.
So I mean, well, I'm not so sure that's the case.
Brazil has an inflation rate
because of the incredible Biden era wage growth. Real wage growth.
I don't know that that's actually true. But the point being, people are responding to what they had felt for the past 4 years, not just what has happened in the past 6 months or
all right. So let me just say something. We'll go back to Brazil for a second. So Brazil's inflation rate is higher than their set goal of 3%, but it's at 4.77, right? They have no income tax and they have the most tariffs out of any country and they have the highest GDP, right? So their prices aren't going up. They can set these trade agreements, right? They can have their tariffs a certain way. Tariffs are negotiating tools to get what you want. And I think that people are only looking at it from a non-strategic method of engaging with economic policies with other countries. And we have notoriously been, because we're the biggest or the richest or the whatever country, we have been like everybody's we're
the charity for everyone.
Yeah,
everyone come here.
I want to get Isabella. I want to get you in on
$1 billion to Africa for disaster relief.
I want to get you in on this. What's your take on the economic policies that
Look at her face already.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't
doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't really care about this stuff. I did have a point about the trans stuff I wanted to bring up quickly. Okay. I will admit they know more about this than me. It's just not what I'm into. I should read up on it though. But just back on the trans stuff because I couldn't get in there. I want something that the right is something that I think a lot of the people that went to the right and the right is definitely sick of is the LGBTQ whatever being shoved down our throats. And Lisa showed me this on the car ride here. If you look up, not only do we have a gay pride month, but it's gay pride year all all the time because I have this as a link
I did tell her
in the
this.
doc. There's so many gay holidays, literally multiple every single month. There's even more singular gay holidays in Gay Pride Month. So why do they have to shove it down our throats? It's annoying. I know that you're not doing it, but I think that's a big
look at all
shift
these.
to the
It's
right.
it's month, sometimes multiple times a month. It's like nothing. Like for people that say they're so oppressed, there's nothing more celebrated right now in our culture than gay stuff. And here's the problem that I have with
but
that. Wait.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on.
I agree. Maybe
This is excessive. Here's what's excessive.
but I understand the urge to
I'm a mom.
celebrate oneself
Happy
when
Milk
for
Day.
for
What does that
centuries you've been dehumanized.
But you're not anymore.
for
So here's the thing. I go into a Target with my daughter.
Nobody's
right?
been alive for centuries, my man.
It's I go in
As
with
an
my
identity group,
5-year-old and my 9-year-old, right? They can read, right? And there's rainbow flags everywhere. And it's like, I forget what it said in this one Target, but it was like be gay, right? And like be something else.
And it's like a toddler's t-shirt.
right. And it's like, no, it was like, it was
There's no way it says be gay.
I'll find stuff.
It was really
There's no
crazy.
way.
I tweeted
Be gay!
It really
Exclamation
was.
mark.
It was
Be
like
gay, do crime is
it was like something. It was something
the
that
left
was,
says a lot.
I can't remember the
Yeah.
exact phrase, but I did tweet about it. So it was like this was a while ago. It was like 2 years ago. It was so egregious, right? And my kids are like, "What does that mean?" Right? And so my next door neighbor who flies the gay pride flag. We live literally across from a schoolyard where there is like kids, elementary school age, playing out in the thing all the time, right? And so they're asking these questions, right? Like, I don't want my kids sexualized. I don't want them talking about sex. I don't want them knowing about sex. My kids, their third grade class didn't even know what curse words were. That's the kind of environment that I keep them in, right? I don't want to have to, I want to be able to choose when I want to have the conversations about sex and sexuality with my kids, right? If I want to say two people can love each other, if I want to say two men can love each other, and that should be fine if they love each other. If I want to say that, I want to choose when I'm allowed to say that without having it plastered everywhere. I mean, all the time plastered everywhere as if it's invoking conversations. That's the problem.
So let's get Luke. Let's get your take on the. Do you believe that it is excessive the way that the government is focusing on things like the LGBTQ
Government?
Because making all of these
Right.
days, I believe
These
that
are
these
like
are all
official national
sanctioned by
holidays?
Yeah, these
by
are-
the. I mean, they're not federal holidays,
Some of
but
them
they
are.
are.
Harvey Milk Day, federal.
Yeah,
That's
it's all the time.
No, I think y'all found like some LGBTQ website. I don't think all of these are like.
No, if you go to
acknowledged
national
by the
holidays, because I
government.
used to have to check them for congressional stuff. Like we have to
But
say
my
like
point
happy
is,
whatever day. And
again,
they're
it's
on the
like-
national
You think
list.
it's shoved
Really?
down our throats or not?
I'm like, let's address food insecurity in the country. Let's address
Deflect,
poverty. And
deflect,
it's like,
deflect.
oh, there's too many gay holidays.
Well, I mean, there are different.
Come on.
Would
But my
you-
point is,
so you're
I
saying you don't want to
understand-
talk about this topic because
Even if-
we can move on to something else if you'd like.
No, I'll talk about it. I'm trying to demonstrate the point that I'm saying, which is that the Republican politicians that have bad economic prescriptions, they benefit from us fixating over these cultural things that.
They force us to fix
All right,
it.
time out.
They
disagree.
force us.
I'm addressing it, but I don't know. I don't know if there's too many up there.
I think
I'm sure we could debate about that, but I do think it's totally understandable that there's been. You were talking so much about backlash, how y'all have reacted. If you know that, like a lot of people growing up too, I was trying to explain this to Isabella with her usage of certain terms, harmful terms,
slurs.
Funny ones.
slurs. You wouldn't empathize with someone who like their whole life felt demonized, dehumanized. So then moments like a Pride Month or something is just their chance to be like, "Woohoo! I'm proud of who I am." And if y'all don't think it's moral or something to be gay, that's your
No, but
journey.
it's not
Hold on. I want to
But-
put a pin in that.
But my ideology says that even with different moral frameworks, we can generally coexist as long as we don't dehumanize. Which y'all not y'all, but like the right wing for a very long time was doing that.
So you
And
mentioned people. You said people all their lives. There's no one in Gen Z that remembers a time where
It's just not true. I promise.
there's no one in Gen Z. You don't even let me finish. But there's no one in Gen Z that really remembers a time where gay marriage wasn't the law of the land. Right?
Yeah, because they're too young.
How old is Gen Z? Like, what's the oldest Gen Zer?
I'm Gen Z.
26, 27.
26, 27. So when was the
2013 was it? Obergefell?
I'm not sure. I thought it was like 2012. So it's been a decade. So I mean, maybe there's a handful of people that were, that are Gen Z that remember a time before being
It was 2015. I just looked it up. Obergefell v. Hart.
10 years ago. Hold on. 10 years ago was when Obergefell was passed, or the Supreme Court made that decision. So to say that Gen Z is in a situation where they remember a time where they were persecuted for being gay, I think that that's not right. Maybe millennials, definitely Gen Xers could say that, but I don't think that Gen Z could say that.
Gen Z wants attention. They want all this like oppression points. And by the way, even before it was nationally legalized, it was also becoming legal in certain states with the Supreme Court.
But before that, though, there's one even more thing that's like even more whatever. You said something, and I want to give you credit for that. You think that we can have a framework where we identify, like we each have our moral beliefs, and then it's but it's able to coexist, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's true, right? I do think that should be allowed. However, we have like NFL sports teams making their people wear rainbow pride flags, but they're not making them wear crosses.
Right.
They're not having a Catholic night where everybody's got to wear a cross on their arm. Okay.
Black national anthem.
Hold on, I'm not done. Or we're not having big like Catholic parades where there's naked people in the street, right? We're not having Catholic ideology or whatever taught to kids in school. We're not saying what.
You're pointing out these are mostly what you're talking about are social things, but they are sanctioned by the government. So even though the government isn't making the NFL do these things, and the government's not saying
they're teaching about non-binary stuff in school, but they're not teaching about Catholicism in school.
That's right. That's the point.
So
they're not.
the difference.
That's the point that I'm making. Is they are mostly social things.
True. Y'all, wait.
This is the gaslighting I'm talking about.
Wait. What you're talking about is you'll have examples. Like in the curriculum, it's not, hey, in second grade, we're telling you what it means to be trans. At least I haven't seen that in curricula.
There is.
But what is true is that sometimes teachers, maybe sometimes in ways that are inappropriate, induce their own ideology into teaching, as has been happening forever. My teacher did talk about their Christian views a lot in a public school, in an environment where normally that's not supposed to be a thing. I did have them talk about how like weird stuff about the Civil War that was kind of weird and right wing. And that is a thing, and you could take issue with it on the local level with your teachers and all that. But again, I'm not trying to gaslight, but I'm just saying the pride message, while there's instances like I agree, if you're in a place where it's just like public and you're naked, stop.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.